Hello, this is a new part of the manhwa where Woo is the biggest loser, but everything changes after he gets the power and becomes invisible. Immediately after this guy gets this ability, he immediately uses it to punish various waifus with the help of your invisible limousine. With the help of his incredible abilities, our main character gets to his boss in order to spank Etris Buns right in the shower. After our main character figured out how to get to her, he used his new ability to pass through solid objects, and it was very appropriate to get to her. In this guy's head, there was the thought that everything is not so bad, because he can show this woman that she is not safe anywhere. Now she will never be able to hide from him. This girl was not stupid, so she immediately realized that our main Gario followed her everywhere, and most likely he really has nothing to do. Or, on the contrary, he has something to do. At this moment, Woo, who is in stealth mode, looks at this girl with his hands on her rice buns and thinking that in front of him is the scum of society and nothing more. Immediately after our main hero realizes that right now this girl is completely at his mercy, he takes her by her hair and decides to plunge her into the bath. Judging by the face of this girl who fell into the trap of our main character, she clearly began to understand that this guy was following her everywhere and was definitely pursuing her for a reason. At this moment, the invisible person begins to smile broadly and ask this girl, "Is it really true that she has not yet managed to understand the situation in which she is right now with him?" We watch as our main character decides that this girl has had enough of water procedures, so he abruptly removes her head from under the water so that she can breathe a little. Woo asks this girl if she thought that he was doing this all just for fun, because she is the only person on the planet whom he follows everywhere. So this is a reason to think. But despite the remarks of our main character, this girl with long hair continued to not understand what it all meant. The guy replied that this would all be her fair punishment. Next, we understand that our main hero seriously begins to punish this girl for acting like a complete piece of shit. She asks her if it's difficult for her to be a decent person. We watch as our main hero kindly decides to make a few changes to the hairstyle of this girl who doesn't know how to behave. He also understands that right now he is dispensing justice. But despite the clear explanations of our main character, this woman replies that all this is nonsense and his account is in Genshin Impact sucks. In response to this, the guy raises his hand to teach a lesson. Our main character simply could not allow this girl to have such a terrible way of thinking. He answered her that this is exactly why he is now storming her garage with his invisible SAS-class limousine. Continuing to bring justice to this world, Woo tells this girl that if she still does not understand what she is doing wrong, then he will continue cardio training until she understands. Apparently, this fool ate something during her punishment, because judging by her face, she choked. She had no idea what this sick guy who was keeping up with her was doing to her. Then the girl understands that if everything continues like this, then everything will end like last time. So he decided that she had to stop this psychopath. She shouted to him that she was listening to him. Looking back, this waifu continued to tell Sigma behind her that she would definitely apologize for everything that she had done in exchange for the fact that he would complete the assault on her garage with such furious intensity. Appearing behind this girl, our main character, Invisibility, asked this waifu, who decided to get off with empty words, whether she really thought that he wanted to hear this chatter. This girl was completely shocked after she heard this. All she could do was ask the guy what he wanted her to do in order to get forgiveness. Next, our main character gets closer to this girl in order to ask her why doesn't she just try to put her heart into this and try to sincerely apologize. Far away as the face of our main character turns into the face of a real psychopath, he warns this girl that if she cannot apologize sincerely with her mouth, she will have to do it with her spare mouth. Despite the fact that our main character voiced all his conditions to this girl, he did not give her the opportunity to think even for a few seconds, because he also needed to throw out his anger somewhere. At this moment, everything that was blurred and we are transported to the memories of this girl when our main hero had already taken revenge on this girl once. She understood that if there was a continuation, the emotions would return. But this girl was going to avoid this feeling because in this case, that old thing would return to her. A tingling feeling that turns your head inside out and makes your senses 100% more intense. While she continues to struggle with this feeling, our main character said that they may not be able to get along on anything else, but their limousines and garages, unlike them, have a different opinion. While our main character continued the process of punishment, he simply could not remember the waterfall that happened the last time they met. This girl asked the guy to shut up, to which he smiled. A couple of moments after this girl, who was close to reaching that very emotion, asked the guy to shut up. He left the bath with the desire to show something. Next, our main character raised this girl by telling her that on the outside, she behaves like a sophisticated and stylish lady with taste. But in reality, she is simply obsessed with the arrival of limousines in her garage. Immediately after this final remark of our main hero, he finished his punishment with the most unfavorable outcome for this girl. And immediately after this, she fell exhausted to the floor. After Jungwoo saw this pitiful sight in front of him, he asked her what was the matter. Could she really no longer control herself and now completely trust her body? Immediately after this phrase, our main character began to approach her body, saying that she gives in very quickly while he punishes her. This guy had amazing legs. After Jungwoo realized that this girl could not play games for a long time, he smiled and told this girl that in this case, it would only be harder for her and easier for him. At this moment, this girl completely drops out of the game with our main character because she completely lost to him, and at this point, the course of events ends abruptly, and we continue in some room. Next, we watch how our main hero still decides to take care of this girl, at least to some extent, so he carries her exhausted body onto the bed. Moments pass and we watch as this woman awakens at this moment, slowly opening her eyes. Apparently, she lost consciousness from the punishment of our main character. Immediately after waking up, this girl begins to look around in order to understand where the hell she is another moment, and she recognizes her own room. Continuing to finally return to her consciousness, this girl wonders if she was in the bath for the last time, and then she was punished by our hero. But now she's here. After a couple of moments of war, this girl suddenly feels some kind of impulse and decides to look at her lower body. She feels as if there is something in her, and it's strange. One more moment and this girl will instantly understand what's what. After looking at her lower body, she sees that her garage is being stormed by the same invisible guy who has not yet left. While this woman is trying to understand what is happening because the limousine is invisible, the guy tells her that he got bored while he was waiting for her to wake up, so he used her garage for his limousine. This woman immediately realizes that this bastard was definitely in the bathroom with her. Moreover, he still hasn't left. She wonders how long her punishment will last. After this girl asks such a question, our main hero asks her not to be such a harmful girl, because her garage will still not be erased if he uses it. But our main character decided that this was a worthy reward for him, because dragging her body from the bathroom here took a lot of effort, because she has a lot of excess fat. The girl is outraged that the guy is using her as a thing. After our main character continued to mercilessly punish this girl and use her garage, her emotions and feelings again reached the limit. This did not suit the guy because she did not wait for him. Next, this guy asked the girl if she really wanted him to do all the hard work during the punishment, and she just got good emotions and feelings because punishment makes sense. Jungwoo in the next moment simply removed his limousine from the girl's garage, telling her that in this case he would just wait until her emotions calmed down. He realized that her garage was begging him to continue. In truth, our gal Nigario continued to actively punish this girl, even when she was unconscious and just lying on the bed. This was enough for her to reach the finish line in her sleep a couple of times. Looking at the face of this girl, our main character told her that he could definitely see from her face that she longed for the continuation of this show. At least this was what her hungry garage, which wanted a limousine, longed for. Next, we watch as our main character decides that he's had enough of all these difficulties, so he just lies down on the bed and says that this time, this girl will have to work on her own. Meanwhile, this girl completely lost control over herself, so that her mind was very clouded. Our main hero at that moment informed her that he could lend his limousine to her for a while. Despite the fact that our main hero is trying to help fulfill the needs of this girl, at this moment, she only thinks that this idiot continues his attempts to humiliate her in every possible way. After this girl understands what is required of her, she immediately abandons this idea, telling our main character that she would never in her life play along with him in such games. Immediately after this girl decides that she will just remove this guy's limo from her garage, and this will all be over. But immediately after that, as she lifts the guy's dumbbell, she thinks about it. Next, this girl immediately remembered that our main hero had recently mocked her in every possible way, so she assumed that if she tried to leave, she would be mocked again. After this girl with long hair understands this fact, she concludes that the best solution in this case would be to simply end this circus as quickly as possible so that she can finally leave. At this moment, our main character thought that this girl even has an attractive side if he looks at her very carefully, so he smiled and a new plan appeared in his head. Despite the fact that our main hero promised this girl that she would do everything herself, he still intervened in the process so that this girl would work better on his limousine. Immediately after this girl realized that she was deceived again, she called our main character a bastard because he deceived her again, and she is close to losing this game by going to the finish line. At this moment, when this woman finally lost control of herself, our shitty hero is very sorry that he is the only one who can contemplate such a spectacle because she treated everyone like crap. Looking at her, the guy understood that she had passed out at the hands of an employee who was considered the scum of whom she had been ostracized. and now she was riding in his limousine, enjoying its length and speed. After our main hero finished warming up this girl for a serious cardio workout, he smiled and told her that it looked like she was now ready to start serious games. In response to this girl again asked our chief Garyao just shut up, because she's just trying to finish her punishment as quickly as possible, so as to forget about it as quickly as possible. At this moment, this girl had no idea what was happening, because her body was already moving on its own, and she wants the guy's big limousine to fill her garage with gasoline. After the guy, who right now felt like a Sigma, heard this, he asked this waifu, "Does she really want all this to end as quickly as possible?" He decided to agree. Immediately after this, our main character turned on the turbo speed of his limousine, telling this girl that in this case he would give her every drop of gasoline that he had accumulated throughout the evening. After this girl, I heard that our main hero was going to blow up his limousine right in her garage. She paused and began to ask this guy not to do this under any circumstances. In response to this, the guy told her that she was the only one who was begging him to do all this right away, because even now her air routes cling to his fighter from all sides so that he could do it. At that moment, this woman felt too much emotion so that she realized that she would no longer be able to defeat our main hero. At that moment, our main character was about to finish for the first time ever. But after our main hero finished this cardio workout for the first time, this girl was immediately glad that she could leave, but the guy was not going to let her go. Girl's expectations were immediately shattered like her childhood dreams after she realized that Santa Claus does not exist. The guy was not going to let her go until he ran out of fuel. At this point, the course of events accelerates sharply, and we continue. When in the same apartment the time has already reached early morning, we hear the voice of our main character, who reports that he has run out of gas. Judging by his facial expression, our main hero is in a good mood. Despite the fact that he had many hours of cardio training, he still asked Seo Miju is she okay or not. But after our main hero was convinced that this woman was not as resilient as him, and she was not able to answer, he left and said that this is what happens when someone looks down on people. All over this girl's face, they were probably having breakfast with cereal and milk in bed. The guy finally told her that she should be kinder if she doesn't want to meet him anymore. And so ended Seo's Nightmare Night Miju, and we witnessed this night. Then the course of events is abruptly interrupted and several whole days pass, and we are transported to the place where these two work. Moving inside this huge building of some corporation, we see our main hero, who apparently did not sleep well or played League of Legends all night, but he holds on. Next, we watch as the same woman who was recently punished by fate approaches our main character. She asks the guy in an authoritative tone what is at his table. In response to this, our main hero immediately looks up from his work and asks what's wrong. This girl replies that she urgently needs to talk to him. The guy listens attentively to the manager. Next, this girl with big eyes folds her arms and tells this guy that she checked his mail. She asks him if he is sure that all the addresses are indicated correctly as they should be. She continues to remind the guy that she told him to send this to the general manager and the heads of the HR department. But for some reason, he turned on the mailing to all employees of the department. Immediately after the guy is pointed out about his mistakes, he gets up from his mets in order to bow to the manager and say that he is very sorry and he did not know that he made such a mistake. But after this girl with long hair hears that this guy is really making such a big mistake, she starts baring her teeth in anger and asking if he's serious. In response to this, our main character continues to worship his manager, so that she asks him for his mistake. Judging by his face, he clearly repents of his mistake. But the girl abruptly stops blaming the guy. Instead, she tells the guy that it's time for him to stop making such mistakes, because no matter how urgent it is, he should always check the addresses before sending. Immediately after this woman leaves to the side, our Galney hero raises his head in surprise after her. His surprise is caused by the fact that she simply pointed out his mistake without insults. After the day when our main character taught this girl a lesson about CEO behavior, Miju has noticeably changed, and she has become much softer with those who report to her in work terms. It was very difficult not to notice that this girl behaved very carefully for the reason that she was very much afraid of something, and we knew what exactly she was afraid of. Same one immediately appears in this girl's head flashback, how our main character punished her all night, telling her that she should be a little kinder in order to avoid this. This girl simply cannot get out of her head all the lines that our main hero said during the punishment a few days ago. He constantly talked about justice that would prevail. Due to the fact that our main hero warned her that she needed to be kinder so that they would not meet again, she took this seriously because she could not allow this to happen again. Meanwhile, the guy looking after this girl begins to understand that this girl is simply afraid of something, and that is why she treated him completely differently and did not call him as usual. Continuing to look after this girl, our main character smiles because he begins to realize that his revenge is finally starting to pay off, and now his work will become a little better. But after a couple of moments, the contented thoughts of our main hero regarding his revenge are abruptly interrupted after a waifu with short hair approaches him to ask something. Standing in front of our main character with folded arms, this girl with big eyes asks the guy if he was scolded again for his mistake. She also adds that he should at least pretend to be upset. After our Galvani hero looks at this girl with short hair in front of him, he immediately understands that this is Manager Young. He looks at her questioningly to understand why she came up to him. Then this girl continues saying that she doesn't know why, but it seems like the manager doesn't want to talk to him now. But it seems to her that it would be unfair to let him go because of his mistake. She continues saying that for this reason she, as his mentor, will guide him one-on-one so that he does not lag behind anymore. The guy is very surprised after he hears this from this girl. Next, this girl continues looking at our shitty hero with the eyes of a tigress. She orders our main hero to stay late today after working for her as punishment. Next, this girl asks the main character, is he going to refuse her generous offer to help him in his free time because this could affect his career? Our main character starts to get angry after he realizes that after Seomiju stopped acting like a fool, someone else started. He didn't understand what this girl was trying to achieve. At this point, the course of the event is abruptly interrupted, and we continue when the time of day changes to dark, and the office in which our main character works becomes almost empty. But he was instructed to stay. Next, the guy is told that judging by his last letter, he copes very poorly with the reports that are assigned to him. And on the table in front of us are reports for the last year that the guy needs to read. It cost our main character look at this huge stack of papers, and his mood immediately deteriorates because he realizes that this will not take an hour or two. He could farm artifacts in Genshin Impact. Immediately after this, our main character decides to turn to this girl to tell her that this will be just a pointless attempt to break him or teach him something. In response to this girl told our main character that even if he is not worried about the photographs, she still has a lot of ways to cause problems for our main character. The girl asks this employee if he accidentally forgot that this is her company, and he is just an employee in it. The guy grinning and decided that she started this to find out about Seo's weakness, Miju. But after our shitty hero's assumption, this girl with short hair replies that this is not so, and in fact she is simply pursuing the goal of trampling our main character into the dirt. Immediately after this girl says to our boss hero, these are not particularly pleasant words, she loudly closes the door to the office, leaving our main hero alone with reports for several hours of work. After our shit Egriao so brazenly they simply confront the fact that he is nobody here, and he will do what he was ordered, he begins to get angry, and, apparently, instead of working, he will come up with something. Next, we are transported to the elevator in which this girl is currently located. She wonders if our main character thought that all this was over, because there was a lull. In fact, it's more complicated. Continuing the conversation with herself, this girl clearly needed help. She apologized to our main character, saying that she was not one of those people who were ready to quickly give up and end everything. This girl was 100% sure that she would eventually find out about Seo's weakness, Miju, because now she is going to punish him for treating her like some kind of joke. This girl is short-haired hair. The high-ranking woman understands that now she will harass the guy so much that he will miss the days when he had that same girl as his boss. Next, we watch how surprise appears on the face of this girl with short hair because she realizes that the elevator is not moving anywhere. Pressing the button again, she wonders what is happening. Looking at the elevator panel, we understand that despite the fact that this girl continued to press this panel, nothing happened, and her elevator just decided to stop in the middle of the floors. A moment later, we understand that all this is nothing more than the tricks of our main hero, who again used his invisibility to take revenge on the girl who wanted to punish him. After this girl realizes that she no longer has the opportunity to use the miracle technology in the form of an elevator, she begins to go down the stairs in her elite businesswoman heels. Then we continue to watch as that girl continues to go down the stairs. She wonders why this elevator decided to suddenly break down, because it was very inopportune. Apparently this girl was far from sports because after she walked half the floor, she realized that these stairs were exhausting her, and she was already tired of going lower and lower. Next, we watch as our main character, who can be very vindictive, finally decides to intervene in the process of getting this girl down. The guy decides to just set a trap for this girl. We all understand the feeling when we miss one step while going down the stairs, and it feels like we are heading into a free fall. But it is the woman who is doomed to fall. Next, we watch as this girl really goes into free fall. Due to the fact that she was wearing heels, she had no chance to escape. As we assumed, this girl had no option to avoid falling after such a trap. In the next frame, we see in front of us a girl who is suffering from pain from falling. Don't even begin to well up in this girl's eyes. Apparently, she hasn't felt such pain for a long time. This girl is completely bewildered. She doesn't understand how she fell. While this girl continues to writhe in pain from this fall, we observe that our boss is already appearing behind her Garyo, without leaving his invisibility. Apparently, he did not finish his retribution. After a couple of moments, our main hero decides to turn this girl's life into a real nightmare. He decides to talk to her without leaving his invisibility. He asks if she's in pain. Like anyone who would be in the place of this girl, she immediately begins to get scared because she hears a voice from nowhere that asks her something. She immediately asks who it is. Unlike us, this girl doesn't see anyone looking at the stairs. Looking at the stairs, she sees only the stairs like us now. She continues to wonder where she heard this voice from. Continuing down the stairs, our chief Garyo asks this girl what exactly shocked her. According to him, this is not the first time something so supernatural happened to him. Immediately after our main character says this phrase, this girl immediately begins to be surprised. She immediately understands where this is all going, so she begins to get scared. Then everything blurs and we watch as this girl is transported into her memories. This girl remembers how something old had already happened to her. Some strange force forced her to train. After this girl finds herself in this position in front of an invisible man, she wonders how he was able to follow her all the way to work. She is in complete shock because the last time she was attacked in the subway. In response to this, our main character downloaded that he was absolutely everywhere all this time. He also added telling this girl that she would never be able to escape from him so that punishment would overtake her. Then this girl understands where everything is going again, because now she definitely can't escape punishment for what she did. She asks this guy in front of her what he is going to do to her. Immediately after our main character hears this question from this girl, he begins to smile like a real villain. Then his hand reaches out to the limousine to let him out. Next, we watch as our main character's limousine leaves the garage, and our main hero at that moment asks her what she thinks he will do right now. After the heavy dumbbell of our main character begins to slowly move towards this girl's face, she begins to feel the temperature, and a smile begins to appear on the face of this guy. Immediately after this girl realizes that something is right now appearing near her face, she immediately brushes it off, telling the guy to immediately remove this dirty thing from her. After this girl understands where this is all going, she begins to slowly crawl out of here in order to escape. She calls the guy an insane piece of shit who is going to train with her again. This girl immediately begins to panic. She asks someone to help her, or call the cops to save her life, because this is psychological and not only pressure, but the guy replies that no one will come at such a late hour. After this girl realizes that there is really no one around to help her, she immediately remembers our main character who was supposed to be in the office. She asks him for help. This girl continues to shout the name of our main character so that he will come to her aid. Our main hero, hearing his name, just begins to pull off his tie to start the game. This attitude towards him when she was in danger infuriated our main character, because immediately after she was in danger, she began to call him for help, despite the fact that she treated him like crap. While the hands of our main character continue to slowly approach this girl, she continues to panic. The guy thinks that if she needs help, he will give it as much as she asks for. A couple of moments after this girl begins to feel the hands of this invisible man on her body, so she immediately begins to panic even more and scream for the invisible man to stop. However, our main character doesn't care at all about everything that this girl says. Instead, he only speeds up in order to punish this girl again so that justice will prevail. Judging by the face of this girl at this moment, we understand that our main character decided not to stop. The girl understood that this invisible man simply ignored her and simply drove his limousine into her garage. However, after our main character began to administer justice with his righteous dumbbell, this girl began to shake because she was not at all used to cardio training. This girl was simply shocked that our main character simply skipped all the phases and immediately began to proceed to the most difficult cardio workout in this girl's life. He was like a caveman. In response to this remark from this girl, our main character replied with a dissatisfied face that he was damn busy, so he didn't have time to exercise or something like that. Understood in his thoughts that he had to quickly punish this girl, after which he needed to return upstairs in order to finish the work that this girl gave him. Because of her, he would be delayed even longer. Continuing to carry out violent punishment, our protagonist called his anger the true anger of an office worker. He continued to roughly drive his limousine into this garage, brutally destroying it. The girl was in complete shock that our main hero was really punishing her in such a rude and dishonest manner towards her garage, but our main character didn't care about it. This girl was in complete shock from the fact that our main character really drove into her garage so rudely. She continued to endure the pain that our main character gave her as punishment. At this moment, our main character began to laugh angrily. He began to shout to this girl that if she was not satisfied with this situation, then she should do everything to make her feel good. Immediately after this girl realized that our main character was hinting at adding motor oil to their racing process, she wondered what kind of bastards were punishing her right now. After this girl desperately asked our protagonist why he was doing all this to her, our protagonist replied that he was a psychological therapist who punished women like her. Immediately after this girl heard from our main character that what he does is that he punishes girls who behave like her, she turned back, puzzled, and asked what he meant. In response to this, our main character explained to this girl that he punishes women who look down on other people, and those who constantly bother people, and those who have no manners. Our main character was a very tough nut to crack, so he easily continued this whole process. This girl was screaming that if everything continued like this, she would simply break from this punishment. After a couple of moments, after our main character continued his turbo cardio workout, he asked this girl to repeat her words again, because she already felt much better because she had warmed up. Now this girl felt a completely different range of emotions. She could not stop wondering why she felt so good right now, because just recently she was in pain. Our main character reminded me of this to the girl that she just recently called him a psychopath, and now she can't stop experiencing pleasure. Now she behaved completely differently. In response to this, our main character was told that all this doesn't mean anything because it's just a biological reaction of her body and nothing more, let alone the emotions of this girl continued to escalate more and more. A couple of moments after this, we watched as our main character finished the first session of punishment, and his limousine had a fuel leak, so this girl fell exhausted. But after our main character saw that this girl fell exhausted, he told her to get up immediately because he can still continue to do this cardio workout with challenges.